I mean,
gonna
Max,
I'm going to check already what we've got just to make sure all's good. But
Mm.
that's
yeah,
good.
make sure I didn't miss any. It was really interesting. I know as the interviewer, my role is to really listen and build off. And I'm so fascinated. I wish I knew more about the subject to really get into the nitty gritty. This is a really, really fun topic.
But you see, the thing that I think is amazing, and we should all of us take more advantage of in universities, is the name universities, right? I mean, it's not a faculty, it's not a college, it's not some. So we should be able to just go around. Of course, needs a coherence, it needs a basic set of things, skills, etc. But you should be able to go, and it should be easy to build degrees that are totally non. I mean, I know you are doing something similar, and it's important to do this and take advantage, and that it's enormous in terms of exploring things that you wouldn't. In a sense, it's almost like having access to these millions or billions of songs that you would never hear if you were just following the same shop where you buy the same type of music and stuff. So it opens up possibilities. Not everybody needs to, but it's if you are into this kind of exploration, I think this is unique, and as a student, I mean, make your own degree, get your teachers, and that's what happens to me. My students come and say, I want to do this. Like, oh, really? Go for it.
Well, what would you think the university could do to encourage more students to break away from their their streams? So I did history, so I took many history courses. So what could the university do to encourage students like that who are in one program to jump and try different programs to build on their degrees and create their own?
Yeah, I'm not sure about the program, or because these are very clear notions, right? What is a program? And some of the programs, the university is not even free to propose new things. For instance, engineering or music, in education in general, you have to have a certificate, right? To be certified. And if your curriculum doesn't follow certain things, you don't get Quebec certification, whatever. It's a big thing, right? I mean, medical school, etc. But one of the things I think personally, I think it's underdeveloped and people could take a lot of advantage more is the research centers. And maybe it's wrong, the information, but I remember I directed one of these research centers a few years ago. And I remember being on a meeting with the VP research at the time, and Rose, and she said, I think that McGill had 80 research centers or something like this, like dozens, right? And these centers are basically multidisciplinary, right? They have people that are interested in a similar topic, but from totally different perspectives. So the CERMIT is the Center for Interdisciplinary Research in Music, Media, and Technology. Is the one I directed in 2011. And basically is from neuroscientists to psychologists to philosophers to music performers to composers to engineers, computer scientists, etc. All working with sound and music. And these centers could play a much bigger role in degrees, etc. I don't know how necessarily, because you have to fit into the credits and whatever. One suggestion I gave, and we never managed to implement, is 1 credit courses that take 4 weeks. And basically, as a professor, it will be easy for me to give a 1 credit 4-week course multiple times a year for people from any area, where I present the most important concepts and techniques, etc. Obviously in a superficial level, in a kind of exploratory level. But that could be something amazing to allow people then, maybe in the second year or whatever, to decide on minors and things and etc. Right? So you don't need to take a full 3-credit, 13-week, 39 hours class on something to later say, it's not really what I wanted. And centers can be used for that. And it would be easy for professors. I mean, I have taught many classes without ever counting on my, like this, without counting on my time, because I was together with a performer and a composer, and we had a 3-credit seminar where I taught for classes. I mean, it's always ad hoc. That's why I said we never managed this officially. But I taught like 6 of these, I don't know, over the years. And for free. I mean, I don't care. I mean, I have the material. It's a pleasure to talk to people. It doesn't take a lot of time. And I think that would be a major improvement if we could find a way to make this official. And then people would sample, literally. You go and sample. I will have a crash course 4 week on neuroscience, and that will give me an idea of what the neuroscience is about. And maybe I will never again go back to that. Right? And if I say, oh my God, I've been missing this thing forever, so now I need to change my major. Right? But the resources exist. I think it's thinking a bit outside the box, actually. It would be amazing if we could have, and maybe this does exist in other places, faculties. I know universities that work like that you can sample different things and build your own. Maybe then depends on the size of the university, and the context might be more or less feasible. But I think that would be something worth exploring.
That would be really, I think that would really allow a lot of creativity with, especially undergrads. I feel like there is a huge exploratory period, and it's a good time for them to actually take these 4-week courses rather than, I think that's what could stop a lot of people. 3 credit courses are a huge commitment. So unless you're sure.
Exactly. And there's all these things that are unsaid. I mean, if you take a class on a different department, chances are you will not get the same grade as someone who is in this department, just because it's novel to you. It's not your area. So it means your GPA will be affected. It means you might not qualify when they select in these committees who's going to apply for SHRC or for NSERC. You know, so there's all these practical things that actually prevent people from doing it in real life, because you say, well, why should I try that? And then eventually, if I fail twice, I'm off. Right? So yes, we are all for multidisciplinarity, whatever. But if in practice we make all these barriers, then it's, yeah, sure, we can continue talking. But so we have to make things easy. Of course, we can now have it free for all. People just take whatever courses, because obviously, right? But if we can, at least to a certain extent, allow this, I think it will help a lot of people find their directions, but also prevent people from having lots of trouble, unnecessary trouble, by a bit of flexibility.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's a really interesting point, and hopefully not just McGill, but other universities can also take that up. It's something that I think could really help stimulate creativity, just like what you were saying. I guess another question we can ask. I noticed when I was reading some of the articles that you suggested, the suggested readings, there were some very interesting projects that people were working on, instruments that can change as you build them, or instruments that can move with the body. I guess my question is, how can these instruments have how can they be applied to an everyday use? Or are they just experiments, or do they have like a goal for the future for them to be more common? Sorry, the words are escaping me. Like, do they have a more like everyday use as well? Yeah.
No, for sure. You know, I mean, every instrument builder, right, builds instrument. I mean, not every, but most, let's say, or many, build instruments that they want other people playing and becoming popular, and etc. etc. I mean, just because you want to share what you did, right? I mean, not necessarily because you again make money out of it. Some have a very specific goal, and this happens too. They want to do one instrument for one piece, one performance, and that's it. It has to be, that's the end, and it's a kind of unique thing. So, but typically it's not the case. But then the problem is what then becomes successful or not. And then again, why people perform music. So asking people you know who might be listening to this is, why did you start playing music? And there are several reasons. One is my parents put me when I was young to decide. And because I was there, I started learning, and then I like it. Or others say, oh, because I wanted to play like Eddie Van Halen, or I don't know what, or because I wanted to, you know. So there's several reasons why. But it's typically there is either an external direction, so parents and say you are going to do, or schools, or there is some sort of role model, and you want to So you buy the same guitar and you put the same colors, as if this would allow you to play as well as the guy who spends 10 hours a day practicing. So this is it's a problem with instruments that are new, that don't exist as role models, don't exist as cultural artifacts, right? So why would I play an instrument that I don't even know exists? And so some people have this kind of idea, pioneering experience, I don't know what to say, to invent their own things, but most of us, we don't. We become very good doing things and then find our own ways, including performance. A lot of performers start imitating different people and playing and then find their own way to perform. And so I think this is one of the reasons that if we don't see these as examples and they don't exist commercially, you cannot buy them, etc., it is a problem. Then we go to the issue of what can you buy in shops? And it's not because these instruments are the best or whatever that they exist in shops. It's actually, there are some reasons, economic, cultural, etc., why certain ones are available and others are not. And you know, amazing instruments don't exist anymore. And amazing versions of acoustic instruments that we today know as fixed were never fixed, right? I mean, there's evolution and whatever. So, you know, certain cultures favor certain instruments and whatever. So there's so many factors. And it does happen that some of these new instruments become popular, but popular is like hundreds of people performing, etc. It's not, I mean, it might eventually, it was the case of synthesizers, that there's thousands or maybe millions of people performing electronic keyboards, right? But that's because it is a keyboard and, you know, we can invent and play piano style. So it's really a question of popularization that is a major question, and it applies for gadgets. I mean, why tablet-based devices did not catch up until the iPhone or the iPad or whatever. I mean, they existed, right? So it's a question of the device, the technology, but also the content, the need, the imitation. Oh, I need an iPad because then I can do things that I saw on TV. If you didn't see on TV, maybe you wouldn't think about it, right? So the need versus the availability, and it's a very complex question. But yes, everybody would like, I guess, to have their designs played. And it does happen, but it's not nearly as much as I wish.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't even consider that, the seeing and the wanting and knowing if you actually need it. Though I will say that I forgot the name of the instrument, but one of the videos that you linked was a very cool one where you can reshape it and it can make different sounds. So personally, I thought that was really fun. I would like to try that.
Yeah, that's it. Then, so why not? Let's do an experiment.
Yeah. Maxwell, do you have anything to add?
No, most of my questions were in the document, so. But it gave me a lot of thought. I had some follow-up on what he was talking about, what Marcelo, you were talking about, the research and everything. How personally, as a student, when I was taking the class,
Mm-hmm.
And we had that interface for anti-aliasing, understanding how quantization occurs, it helped a lot. Personally, it did, yeah. And I read the paper regarding it, and I didn't realize that it was a complete simulation. That they didn't that it was a complete simulation of the process. So, so yeah, it really helped. It really helped. I thought it would have helped. I think it helped even better than if you were to have gone onto a whiteboard and just drawn.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and this is exactly the point, right? And I didn't think about it. I wanted to replace the whiteboard, but actually the thing went way beyond the whiteboard. But, you know. Cool. Nice. Now we have to do the same with bucket brigades.
Yes.
Cool.
All right.
Okay.
I'll stop the recording here then.